Everyone, I want to show you how to set up a Google Meet link within Google Classroom so that you'd use the same Google Meet link every time. So there's a couple ways to get started with this. So I'm in a Google Classroom here that I've just created. I'm going to go over here to the gear, and I'm going to make sure down here on the class settings, right here where it says Google Meet, and I'm going to click on generate the Meet link. Now that's the same link that you'll use every time, so students will have access to it, and so will you. Now the thing you can do from the settings page is you can actually shut that off so that students don't see that. So you can turn that on whenever you want students to see it, and then you turn it on, and then when you don't want them to see it, you can turn it off. So that's really nice to be able to make it available when they have their class, and then when the online is not in session, you can turn that off. I'm going to go ahead and click Save up here at the top right, and then it appears right here, and that's the same way with the student too. It appears right here for the student, and they would click on it, and you would click on it too and open it up here. So the first time you get into Google Meet, you have to allow your microphone and your camera to work. So you click Allow and click Allow, and then there you go. There you are. Now you're not in the Meet yet. I'm going to try and move this out of the way just a little bit. You're not in the Meet yet because you have to basically join your own Meet if you're the host. So I'm going to click on, but this is a preview of what it looks like here. You can shut your microphone off. You can also shut your camera off if you want, but you would click on Join. This is the Meet code, and then you can also add people if you need to, or you can copy this, but that Meet link, remember, is on the Google Classroom, so your students will have access to it. So I'm going to put this down here. So Meet is very similar to Google Classroom. I'm going to try and hide these things here. So down here in the lower left-hand corner, Meet is similar to Zoom. It's an online conferencing tool. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that Zoom has. Google is adding things to it all the time, but right now it does not have all the control tools that Zoom would have. But down here we'll start down here in the lower left-hand corner. You have the Zoom ID number, or not the Zoom, the Google Meet ID number, and we saw this information before. You have your unmute button. This will turn your microphone on or off. This hangs up or leaves the call, and then you can turn your camera on or off. The person or your students could turn closed captioning on. This is an individual setting for everybody. So if I turn this on, then captions have been turned on, and I have to have my microphone on, and then it does the closed captioning. A lot like how Google Slides does the closed captioning. These captions are not saved anyplace, but they will be there on the screen for who's ever talking. It will get picked up. So, but if I turn it on here, that's not necessarily turned on for everybody else. It's an individual setting that would need to be turned on. So I'm going to go ahead and turn that off, turn my microphone off. And then the present now allows me to present my screen. So you can present your entire screen. You can present just a window or just a tab. Now the difference between these three is that your entire screen would be everything on your screen, including any other programs, Active Inspire, Word, PowerPoint, Adobe, anything else you bring up, anything that's on the screen will be shared. If you decide to just share a window, that would be any window that you have open on your screen. So like right now, I got two windows right here. I got this one with this information, and then this one with the Google Meet. I can choose, if I choose to share or present a window, these are the windows I have to choose from, and that's the only window that I can share. And if I jump to another window, my students won't see it because I'm only tied into that one window um, in that case. But I could open up different tabs in that window and move from there. So you could have a window open that has like your email and your calendar and some other things that are more specific to you. And then you could also have a window open that has your lesson presentation or information or something else. And you can share just that window and nothing. If you accidentally click on something else, nothing else opens. Just remember that you're sharing just what's in that window. And if you want to bring up a picture or, like I said, an Active Inspire or anything else, that's not going to work because it won't be in that window. And then the last one is a tab. So if you're going to show a video, this is what they recommend as the best to run a video through. And so you would click on it and would only share whatever tab you have open. So if I was to have, let's say I was to have YouTube open, and then I have let's just do this one real quick here. Um, I'm going to come back and click on present and just a Chrome tab. I could choose just that video and share it, and then that's the only thing that gets seen is just the tab. It doesn't even it won't show your bookmarks. It won't show the omnibar or the extensions. It just shows what's in the tab. And then again, if you try to go to a different tab, it's not going to be seen, or a different window, it's not going to be seen. So you have basically everything that shows on your screen, anything in a particular window, including different tabs, or one specific tab to share. So those are the three different screen sharing options you have. And then under anytime in Google where you see the three dots, you've got more options. So here are some more options. Let me move out of the way here. You can record the meeting. So this would be click on record meeting. You basically, what this says is make sure that you have consent and hit accept. So you could tell your students, hey, I'm recording, and now it's recording. So the recording is going to be saved to your Google Drive, and you will get a notification when that is ready to go. And then that could be uploaded to your YouTube channel if you wanted to. And then it could be shared or just archived, whatever you want to do. You can change the layout of how the screen looks. So you could have a shared screen. Oh, let me go back here. This would be a shared screen with the people on the side. You could do a spot. Actually, this would be the spotlight. So this would be the person speaking with people on the side. You can have it where it's spotlight. So where whoever is speaking is full screen. So if I'm talking, then I'm full screen, and if somebody else talks, they come up full screen. Or then you have the grid view here. It's always going to be set default to auto, however you want that to look. You can make this go full screen. Here's where you can turn on captions again. Settings. This lets you check your microphone settings and your speaker settings. So right now my microphone is off because I'm not using it within Meet. And then my speaker settings, it will run through my system speakers or the speakers I've connected to this laptop. And the same with videos. You can, the video's turned off. If you got a webcam or something, that will be up there. And then the resolutions, this is something that you need to know how to change, because standard definition is low res picture. It's not high quality, it's not high def. But if you've got poor internet connection or a poor internet signal or quality, you want to run your Meet or on your end at 360p. And this is something you should show your students how to do too, because if they've got poor internet, or if they're not using a Chromebook and maybe they're using something, a different device that's maybe older, they need to know how to change it. And that's also the where it says receive resolution. It's going to be standard definition by default, but you can change that if you need to. So if you're, but that would be so the send resolution. Sorry, the send resolution is this is how it's sending out to students. So we're going to send it out at 360, which is not high def. It's good enough. Chromebooks are not designed to run high definition video anyway, and so it's it's a great setting for Chromebooks and for anybody who has really low quality Wi-Fi or slow Wi-Fi. And then the receiving resolution, this is how I see it, or the teacher sees it on their end, and this is set to 360 also. If you want to receive resolution at your end on 720, that's fine. Just know it's going to take up more of your internet bandwidth and more of your device resources, your memory, your processor, that sort of thing. So um, I would just set those, excuse me, both at standard 360 definition. Use a phone for audio, just like in Zoom, you can call in. So here's the dial in number and then the PIN number. So people could call in on the phone. And then if you have a problem, you can report that to Google. So when students join, you're going to see the number here. And when you click on that, you could see all the different basically thumbnails pop up here. When their camera is off, you will see their profile picture. When their camera is on, you'll actually see a little live thumbnail there of the person. And so you'll be able to see everybody. There's also a chat. So there is a chat room, and these are recorded. So you could go back and get to those in the chat. So some of the things that you do have control over is you have control over, you can mute students. You can also remove them or kick them out of your session if that's something that you need to do. You the things you can't do that right now that you can do in Zoom is you can't do breakout rooms right now. You can't do that's kind of the big one, is the breakout rooms, and then also the recording is a big one where you can't just record your screen sharing because it will record basically everything that's on the screen, and that's kind of a big thing for student privacy. So like I said, this is a good alternative to Zoom. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles that Zoom would have, but it does work well with Chromebooks, and it works well with students who have low quality internet at home. So anyway, so that's Google Meet. Remember that it's built into Google Classroom, and the student would click on that link right there, and they would then get into the meeting. So let me do this real quick. I'm going to invite my student account. So I have, let me have it join here real quick. That's my student account, and I'm going to go in. Okay, so I'm in my student account. I'm going to go to Classroom. So this is what the student would see, and this is how it would act on the student. So I invited my student. They would click join to join my class. And I'd say, okay, at 2 o'clock or right before 2 o'clock, make sure you get into the Meet. So the student would come in and they'd click on the Meet, and then they'd have to allow, and they can see it's already being recorded, and they would click in and click join. So now, my student account is in. So this is what my student is viewing. My student is actually sees me, and there's two. There's my student, that's the account I'm on now, and then me, the teacher. Um, so let me go back to the teacher view. So here's what the teacher sees. So here's what I see as a teacher. I can pin this screen so that um, that means that is the screen that's always up no matter who's talking. Um, so really I could pin my own screen, and then everybody else could hear people talking but not see them. And then I can remove the student also. So now my student account is unmuted, and so what I can do then as a teacher is I can mute them, and it says mute 8275 for everyone in the call. Only 8275 student can unmute themselves. And so what that means is that the teacher, if a student unmutes themselves, the teacher can mute them. However, there's nothing right now in Google Meet that blocks the student from going back and unmuting themselves. Now that's an update that Google says is coming, but as of today, that's not available. So that's something else. In Zoom, you can make it so that students can't unmute themselves, but with Google Meet, they can. And so the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on captioning here. I have to turn this on. I'm going to turn on captioning here and then show you on the student end. Notice how it doesn't show up on the student end unless captioning is turned on. And now I also have to have my microphone on because the captioning works with the microphone, and it will identify who's talking. So it's picking me up both because I'm talking on both ends. So if I shut off captioning here, notice all the captioning goes away. So that's not something on the teacher end. When it says turn on captions, remember, this doesn't turn it on for everybody. It only turns it on for the person that's viewing that part of the screen, or it's individual. So turn on caption has to be done on the student end for them to see those captions, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that's the basics of Google Meet. Remember, it's built into Google Classroom on the very front page of Google Classroom right here. You can go into the class settings, scroll down to the general, and you can also turn it off. And if you have to click save here, and if we go back to the student section and I refresh this page, notice that it goes away. So you can turn it off and turn it on. It'll be the same link every time for students. And so you do have access to it. Doesn't have all the bells and whistles of Zoom. They are updating it and trying to get those updates pushed out as close to the beginning of school as possible. And as soon as updates come out, you will have access to those. So that's how you set up Google Meet with Google Classroom. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me, and I'm here to help. Thank you.